the Dolphins are repeating an act. And last time it happened, we had controversy. And we had no idea. We were trying to figure out what was going on. And you have to go back to that situation to understand this situation. You're going to go, oh, what are you talking about? Let me explain. So last time, the Dolphins, and I'm talking about Chris Greer and company now, they tore it down to the bone. They hired Brian Flores to coach. And they tore it down with the intentions of tanking. Now, you can't talk about it, but your actions are supposed to be it. And so Brian Flores gets a guaranteed 5-year contract because all coaching contracts are completely guaranteed. And the understanding is, hey, Brian, yeah, you see that roster we're giving you? There ain't much there, right? Your job, should you decide to accept it, is to lose as many games as possible. This tape will destruct in 5 seconds. Somehow or another, Brian Flores didn't get that message. So we were all confused. Wait a minute. I was confused. Oh, they're trying to tank. Well, no, they're not actually, because that coach is not coaching a tank. That's not a coaching. That's not a tank. That's not a coach tanking. That's not a coach on the sidelines trying to tank. So I was like defending Flo here, like, no, there's no way he's trying to tank. Yet the front office did it all. They did everything possible to get the Joe Burrow pick. That was what's supposed to happen. And then you ended up at number 5 because this idiot won too many games. He couldn't win enough games in his final year. You know, he could only win the games at the end of the season against all the shitty teams so he could bring his record up. But, you know, it's not like it's crazy how the world works. So they tore everything down. It looked like they were tanking, and they were, but one guy didn't get the message and fucked it all up for everybody. Pardon my French. So now, what have you seen all off season? I mean, we've been. If you're a hardcore follower of the show, and you listen every day and all that, I'm going to be repeating a lot of the stuff that you've heard in the past in pieces and all that. We'll put it all together again for you, but look at what's gone on the entire off season. They did everything in the draft that they needed to help Weaver. They did what they had to do to protect Tua. This isn't the guards that normally Mike McDaniel likes to get. He doesn't like big physical guards and stuff like that, and he doesn't like to spend on guards. They did. He doesn't like big backs. He cut the last one they had in Brooks, and then he came and ran over us. Well, guess what? They went and got Madison, and they went and got Ollie. Okay? Why? Because they're trying to protect the quarterback. Now, in the draft, they sent away a 4th rounder for a 3rd. You're trying to save your job. Did they do anything in free agency to kind of save their jobs? No, not really. They kept it very low key. They didn't go out there and go crazy. Oh, Jonnu Smith, integral part of the offense. Oh, I need a new contract. Sorry, we're going to trade you. How are you going to trade your best pass catcher last year? Your most consistent pass catcher last year. Let's put it that way. You did. And then you replaced him with what? A goofball that was retired. And then you got 2 young guys that haven't done shit except constantly make mistakes. They got talent, I get it. Especially Julian Hill. He's got a lot of gifts. But haven't done anything. Just watch the entire offseason. Are they really did the GM work the offseason like he's trying to save his job? Because a ton of you want him fired. And let me put it this way, I think most of you want him fired. It's probably good 70, 80% of you that want Chris Greer fired. Maybe 90, I don't know. And he did nothing that would ever signal that his job is on the hot seat. Yet, the guy that is on the hot seat for sure, in Mike McDaniel, did he get what he needed? Not really. He doesn't have the depth that he needs on that team right now. He just got a severe downgrade at tight end. He still has to deal with a head case number one wide receiver that doesn't run the right routes, doesn't catch the ball consistently. The Dolphins have told you exactly what they're doing. They're tanking. Without tanking, they have put Mike McDaniel on a life raft and just have set him aside and said, dude, if you find land, God bless you, bro. You'll live. But if you don't, you're dead in the water. That's what they've done to Mike McDaniel. They stopped investing in Mike McDaniel. In the way he was doing football, they went and got a big receiver in the offseason. It's not the way he does things. Notice all the things they did. It's opposite of what he's done so far, what he has tried to push onto the front office. The front office finally told him to go fuck himself without telling him that and said, no, we're doing what we want to do. And they gave him a new contract. Everybody got a new contract. Front office, everybody's got new contracts. So they can't look stupid in firing him right away. And they saw in the offseason players were defecting, the leadership, most of your leadership is gone. They saw all the writing on the wall. So Mike is going to have to sink or swim here. And if they happen to win, well, then great. All right. Yeah. I was going to say something, but I don't want to ruin it for you guys. It has nothing to do with sports. It's something else that, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it for you. But anyway, and so if you win, great. But we don't expect you to win. We expect you to do the same thing you've done for the last couple of years, which then gives us a reason to fire you. And we're excited about the team. And it's more about, if you watch what I've been trying to tell you, this is more of a transition year. It's not really about taking down the Bills. It's about changing the way the foundation of this team is set up. And they're going more to physical style. And we're going to find out if he can adjust. If he can't adjust and do what they need him to do, he will get fired, and then Weaver will take over. But the Dolphins have told you exactly what they're doing. They just can't tell you. They did this several years ago. They just can't tell you we're tanking for Burrow. We want the number one pick. We have given Brian Flores a completely shitty team. All he has to do is screw it up. And he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that because he had to try to win. When it's like, yo, dude, you got 4 more guaranteed years. Nobody is holding this year against you. This is your mulligan year. Take it. And he couldn't do it. So there's no mulligan going on here because you can't bring Mike McDaniel back next year. That would be absolute suicide. But indirectly, quietly, but obviously, they are not doing things at all the Mike McDaniel way. So now Mike McDaniel has to adjust the way he does things, the way he coaches games, all of that. It's way too much for a guy like that, for anybody, to be quite honest. So basically, they have set him up to be the failure that he is and has been so far because he's had a lot more talent and he should have had much more success than what he's had. And they finally know this. But they have to go through this charade because they gave him a damn new contract. And so it would look odd to fire him right now. It would just be so controversial and weird. So now it's normal because he's on the hot seat, right? You got people writing articles, and he's one of the top guys that's mentioned in all the hot seat articles. So now it makes sense. He's on the hot seat. He doesn't perform well, which is kind of expected. They fire him, and they go through the charade of putting in Weaver, and they move on. They're telling you by all their actions, and they see it by all the players that left, including front office personnel that said, I'm out of here, dude. This isn't going the right way. And they see it. And so I think they've made a decision where they're fine with the personnel side of it, but they're not fine on the coaching side of it. And they know that that's the part that they have to correct because they're just not maximizing the talent. I mean, you're counting on Tyreek. Why would you count on Tyreek? You couldn't count on him the first couple of years. He fails in a lot of big moments, talks a lot of shit, and never lives up to any of the shit that he talks about. You're going to count on Darren Waller? Are you out of your effing mind? You're counting on Julian Hill to stop making mistakes. You're counting on Mike McDaniel to get a play in on time, to win a challenge, to know when to stick to the run. And there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. You have no corners, none. And people talk about like, well, maybe they could get Rasul Butler or Asante Samuel Jr. or something. Doesn't matter if you add one of those guys. It's not going to make your secondary better. And let's be honest, folks. You're also asking Jalen Phillips and Chubb to stay healthy. That's a lot, man. They're fantastic players. They're great talents. We know that. But they don't stay healthy. It's a problem. There's a lot of things to be worried and concerned about. So they know that too. And there is no positive buzz in that building. That's all manufactured bullshit that they're trying. But they know they don't have the right person leading. That's why when you look at the actions that have been taken the entire offseason, it's the actions of a general manager and an ownership group that have moved on. And the only reason the coach is there is because he just got a brand new contract that starts this year. So the only way to fire him is to justify the firing by not performing well. And that's unfortunately what they're going to wait for. And if by some miracle he becomes a decent coach this year, well, then so be it. They can put it on the back burner because then things are better. But they don't expect that. And for you to expect Mike McDaniel to finally get it at this point, it's insanity, bro. Insanity. The Dolphins are telling you exactly what they're doing. They've given up on Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's on a life raft on his own. And if he can, paddle his hands or something and make it to Cable Beach Junction and not let the waves and the current take him out into the Atlantic, then he'll be safe. But if he can't, which is what's been happening every year, they'll get to do what they have to do in firing him and then moving forward. And I know you're going to ask me, so then why are they doing this? You know, I'm the guy that said fire him in the Colts game. I would have. He wouldn't even been able. He wouldn't have been allowed to get on the team plane. If I owned the team, I would have said, "Hey, Mike, here we're going to buy you a first round ticket. You can go because you're fired right now. We don't want you on the plane. It's too uncomfortable. Can't have you running this team anymore." That's it. That's what I would have done in the Colts game. I would have fired his ass and left him there. Remember how the Panthers, and it was like a lie. The Panthers didn't really like leave this guy on a lurch. You had to go get a taxi or something or anything like that. That wasn't really the real story, but it should have been here. It should have been here. Yeah. Here's a first class ticket on another plane. Go get yourself out of here and go see your family. And thank you for everything. We can't have you here anymore. That's what I would have done. But, you know, this is Stephen Ross's show, and this is the way they're going to do things. And it's not like this year you were going to be anything anyway. So might as well just make this the dog and pony show year where you make the transition. Okay. We'll see how it plays out.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.